Hey everyone, this is Morey again from the Performance Lab doing a breakdown here. Probably pretty accustomed to me doing more of the throw breakdowns, but here we're going to go into running. I think we're going to be adding a lot more running technique and running mechanics into our PLC membership, and so we just want to give you some more information about getting good running technique and what that looks like. Here we have a 40-yard dash from George Farmer, and George Farmer was one of the better players that ever came out of the LA area. Unfortunately, just had a large amount of injuries within his lower body while he was playing, and that's what kind of hindered his. He ended up running a 4.35 in this video that we're watching here, and we're always trying to figure out how we can get better speed. And what we're going to look at is really what asymmetries do and how those make it so you end up having a lot of problems within increasing your injury risk. So it's really an asymmetry type of a post here. So what we're seeing as he has a good acceleration. I mean, he has a good amount of shifting going on in the hips, and what that does by shifting a good amount in the hips is it gives the opportunity to produce power. That lateral shift allows him to really get a large amount of, I mean, the valgus and things like that aren't necessarily they're not bad or great in this situation, but as we see him get into top-end speed, we'll see more of what, to me, is what his issue ended up being, and that's just the large amount of external rotation that he has on his leg during that initial foot strike. Here with that right leg, you can see how that toe is basically turning straight outwards, knees facing outwards. All these things are happening as he lands. So now his force production has to basically be, and you can see how he even turns his foot out more. His force production comes from basically his foot facing straight to the right. So he's using all these inside muscles in order to generate force going inside. That's going to make it so he's chance for groin problems, chance for inside hamstring problems, and even chance for knee problems are going to go out significantly. Left side, he turns out slightly, not too bad. He has a lot more stabilization on that left side, so you can see when he lands, that hip's able to really absorb that really, really well. The issue is that his left arm, he's a little bit more pec dominant on his on his left arm. So his left arm kind of comes across, his right knee kind of comes across. So the oblique system, the anterior oblique system, which is the muscles that run from the left shoulder to the right hip, is a lot tighter on him than on the opposite side. So what that does is that makes it so he's going to have a lot higher chance of having these asymmetries, right? So there's one, and to me it starts with the core. There's one side of that oblique system that works better than the other side, and so even though the legs are working really well here, because of how much more strength he has within that left shoulder and right hip on the front, now when he goes and lands, now we're going to be more on the posterior side, he just doesn't have as much strength here. So even as he's landing, he's still using the anterior oblique system here, even though what should have happened is that posterior oblique, which is the back part of the left shoulder to the right glute, should have started to activate. Now this makes it so he has to land and utilize that external rotation within the leg, putting a lot more pressure within the lower limb with the right leg to do all the stabilization here, instead of using that core. Okay, and so that's really what ends up happening here, and then you can see how he lets that arm go so far out here, just loading that pec a ton to be able to come back across and get that anterior oblique system going again. So just that asymmetry between left shoulder to right hip and kind of how much more the front part of that system is working compared to the back is the heart of the issue that's causing the difference of that huge landing. You can see here, I mean, he does a great job of getting vertical. He has a lot of, very explosive person. There's a lot of things that are great about what he's doing, but when he lands and he has that high amount of external rotation, and then as he begins that transition phase right there, he goes into so much of a, kind of a lateral movement, so he has to create so much force with muscles that are not supposed to be moving them in the sagittal plane, are supposed to be actually moving them in the frontal plane or side to side instead of the muscles that are moving them straight ahead. He now is going to have a tendency to use those muscles all the time, right? So if the muscles that are supposed to be going straight ahead aren't working, and instead you're using the muscles that are taking you side to side, when you're moving straight ahead, and then you also are going to be using those muscles when you're moving side to side as well. Those muscles are going to become overused, and that's what's going to cause the injuries like ACL, ankle problems, pulled groins, pulled hamstrings, things like that. While on the left side, he's much more efficient in transitioning between that anterior oblique system here. So he's using a lot of the anterior oblique system right now, but then he does a good job of transitioning off of it. So now that right like lat to left glute are both working to stabilize that left leg, which is making that side just a lot more efficient and effective. So again, the big thing that we're looking at is asymmetry. So now that you can see the difference between one side and the other, I think it'll help you in being able to say, okay, I want to try to be as symmetrical as possible. We'll never be able to be 100% symmetrical, but to understand, okay, my foot is not supposed to be turning all the way out. I'm supposed to have an equal utilization between my anterior oblique system and my posterior oblique system, kind of understanding how your legs are supposed to be landing and which planes your muscles are being used in. So kind of the front part of your leg here, your quads, the anterior tibialis, front part of the ankle, as well as the hamstring, glutes. Those are all muscles that are supposed to be are supposed to be pushing you straight forward, but by landing out to the side, he's using much more adductors and kind of the peroneals in the lower body, and that's what's increasing his injury risk on that right side. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I know we're getting very, very technical, but on the same side, you want to have somebody that has a good ability to be very technical. This might not be easy for you to understand on somebody else's body, but try to apply it to your own body and try to have an understanding of, okay, what muscles are supposed to do what planes are they supposed to be moving in, because this is going to be so important for you to be able to perform at a very high level, as well as to make sure you're going to reduce injuries. As always, thanks for watching, and we will see you soon. If you're interested in our PLC membership series, go on there now. You can buy it for $80 for the entire year. Right now it's primarily only quarterback type of videos. We also have some some pitching stuff as well, but it's going to stay $80 for the rest of the month. But then after this, we're going to put on injury prevention. We're going to put on our speed series. We're going to add a lot more to it, and when we add more to it, it's going to be $99. So try to get it now before we up the prices on April 1st. Thanks again for watching.